welcome to Patrolling Oz. This was meant to be part 2 to our day trip from Halls Creek, but unfortunately Duncan Road's still closed, so that's going to have to be a later video. So instead we've decided to bring you up to Kununurra and have a look around here.
Alright, what we're checking out today, first is Valentines Springs, then we're going to head up to Blackrock, which is a big waterfall, and also going to Middle Springs as well, which is actually quite close to Blackrock. And at the moment we're at Ivanhoe crossing. Currently the crossing's closed to vehicles due to the water level, so it's unsafe.
Ivanhoe Crossing is a concrete causeway over the Ord River north of Kununurra, originally part of the main road through to Wyndham. Since the start of the Ord irrigation project in the 1960s, the river now flows year-round, making the crossing impassable during the wet season when the river level is high.
Fishing from the Ivanhoe crossing gives you the chance to catch an elusive barramundi. Just got to be careful and keep an eye out for the saltwater crocodiles which inhabit the area. Alright, we're at the Ord River Diversion Dam, just out of Kununurra on the Victoria Highway. You need to drive over the dam if you're coming in from like Halls Creek or Wyndham, places like that, before you head over to the Northern Territory border. Dam here was built in 1961.
Finished in 1963 and officially opened by Sir Robert Menzies.
And the purpose of the dam is to help irrigate 21,000 hectares of agricultural land in the area, which is quite a lot of land. Right, so you can see there's a couple of gates on the dam that are open at the moment. 4 I think there was.
So throughout the wet season, these steel gates are open and closed and they let floodwater through. In dry season though, the gates are generally kept closed to retain the water reservoir, which is on the other side of the dam.
Located roughly 6 kilometres west of town, the dam is used to regulate the water level of Lake Kununurra and the Ord River. On a visit to the Diversion Dam, you can see 20 radial gates mounted within a concrete framework and spillway structure. The irrigation system relies on gravity to pull the water into channels which then flow to farms to the north and south of town.
Right, just so everyone knows, to get down to the Diversion Dam car park where we are at the moment, you need to turn off at the Information Bay signs, and there's a big sign that says Lions Park. You got to head down there.
Due to the high water levels at Ivanhoe Crossing, we were unable to drive through. So we took a quick trip back up Victoria Highway and took a turn onto Valentines Springs Road to head toward Valentines Springs.
Alright, so just arrived at Valentines Springs just as it started to rain, so I can't go for a swim at the moment. There is lots of water around, There's a little waterfall and water crossing. It's all passable at the moment. So we'll give you an update when it stops raining. Right, so it's still raining at Valentines Spring, so what we're going to do is we're going to head on to Blackrock and Middle Springs. We have to come back past here anyway, because there are two ways into Blackrock and Middle Springs. One of the ways is on the road we're on now, which is Valentine Road, and the other way is actually over the Ivanhoe crossing, which is currently closed due to the water level, so we can't go back that way.
It's very hard in wet season. As cool as everything looks, it's always raining, it's always windy. You can see why people don't travel in wet season.
And the heat will kill your drone batteries.
And the humidity, just to add to it as well.
Alright, so we're going to get moving now just while we wait for the rain to pass. So it's not a huge storm, so it shouldn't flood us in or anything, but yeah, it's always something you got to think about. The road is currently open as well. We checked with the Wyndham East Kimberley Shire website. So their latest update was from the 23rd of January, and they only updated if any road conditions change. So at the moment it's still all open. So we'll see what it looks like when we get there. Move!
Traffic jam.
Move!
Traffic jam, Kimberley styles. Make up your mind.
Alright, so we're at Blackrock now. Wasn't too bad getting here in the bit of water on the road. Quite a big waterfall. And a decent sized pool down the bottom. The water temperature is not too bad, but it can get pretty cold here in the dry season. The water does eventually get quite stagnant towards the end of the dry. So if you want to come here, best to come at the start of the dry or during the wet if you're lucky enough, so you can see it flowing like this.
As you can see, the waterfall is most spectacular in the wet season right after rain, as the water tumbles down the 30-metre rock cliff face into the pool below. Blackrock Falls gets its name from its rock cliffs, which have been stained black from minerals in the water over many years.
She's not wearing any shoes. She thought it'd be a good idea. She didn't want to get her thongs dirty, so she has to put up with the sharp rocks on her feet. Been saying that, I'm not wearing any shoes either.
Okay, so we are leaving Blackrock. When you leave Blackrock, there are two different routes you can go to head back to the highway. As you come out to the exit for Blackrock, there's a sign which says alternative route to Middle Springs, which is the next freshwater spring we're going to have a look at, but it does specifically say for high clearance four-wheel drives only. We have done this before, but obviously four-wheel drive tracks change, so we're going to hit it now, see how we go. But if you do happen to come down here, would suggest having a decent height four-wheel drive just in case the track's a bit spicy.
It's a bit how you going.
We have made it to Middle Springs. Alright, so the sign on the way in for the alternative track to Blackrock, or Blackrock to Middle Springs, says high clearance four-wheel drive. We've just done it and there's only really one bit that's a little bit hectic, but realistically there is a chicken track around it, so you'll be fine. I'd say a four-wheel drive, probably a good idea, but high clearance, big buddies and stuff, probably don't need them for that one.
Middle Springs is a big pool with a grassy edge, nice for picnics and popular with families. During and just after the wet season, you find a series of smaller pools and waterfalls above the main pool. To get to them, climb up the path to the left of the main fall. It's worth it, even when the falls are dry, for a great view over the valley.
Don't forget to get your wife to walk through the water crossings, make sure it's all good. She loves doing this. Right, so we're just leaving Middle Springs at the moment. We did come through the four-wheel drive track that goes from Blackrock to Middle Springs. If you don't feel you're comfortable going that way, you do go back out to the road, go down the road about 1 kilometre, and then the other entrance is there. There are a few water crossings on the way into Middle Springs, so if you don't feel comfortable doing them as well, there are places to park your car and walk up to the springs. We're just going to head back out now. We're going to have a look at Ivanhoe crossing. We won't be able to cross it, so we'll just have to walk down from the gates and have a look, and then we'll head back out to Valentines Springs and see what it's like there without the rain.
What does Lucky think of all this?
It's funny, the full driving put him to sleep, all the rocking around. Welcome back to Valentines Springs. Now the sun's out, it's looking a bit better.
Very pretty. All that fresh water there for little Nobblin to go swimming in. What do you think?
Loves it.
Valentines Spring is not really a waterfall, rather a small set of rapids and a shallow and often very warm pool. Pretty safe to say there's not going to be any snapper in here either.
Alrighty, thanks for watching another episode of Patrollin Oz. That wraps up our short little Kununurra trip. Really hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. Happy to answer them.
Hopefully we will get part 2 of our day trip from Halls Creek done in the near future, pending how much rain we get on the Duncan Highway. But that's it for now. Don't forget to like this video and press the subscribe button down below.
See ya.